What if your problem isn't procrastination? What if your problem isn't discipline? What if the real pain is this? Every time you choose one path, it feels like you are abandoning a part of yourself. You don't see options, you see different identities, and each one feels emotionally alive. You're not afraid of effort, you're afraid of loss, because, to you, choosing one dream doesn't feel like commitment, it feels like betrayal. This is a uniquely sensitive form of paralysis, and today, we're going to decode it. Not with motivation, not with hustle advice, but with psychology, neuroscience, and a more compassionate map for the HSP mind. First, we need to name what's actually happening in your brain. Highly sensitive people don't just like ideas, they bond with them. Psychologists call this identity fusion, where an idea, role, or future self becomes emotionally linked to your sense of who you are. So when someone says, just pick one thing, your nervous system hears, kill the others. That's why the choice feels violent, not logical. For you, dreams aren't interchangeable. They are emotionally encoded. Each one represents a version of you that wants to exist, and letting one go feels like silencing a voice inside. This is why traditional productivity advice fails you. It assumes decisions are neutral. But for HSPs, decisions are emotional events. Now, here's where it gets even more complicated. Your brain isn't just choosing between futures, it's mourning futures that will never happen. Psychologists call this anticipatory grief. You're grieving lives you haven't lived yet, the novelist you could have been, the therapist, the musician, the philosopher. Even before you choose, your body is already in loss, so of course you freeze. The mind says, choose, but the nervous system says, if I choose, I lose. This is the hidden cost of choosing one dream. And society doesn't help, because we live in a culture that glorifies clarity, certainty, and singular identity. What do? Who are you becoming? Those questions feel harmless, but to a sensitive mind, they feel like pressure to amputate complexity. Psychology calls this a low-context identity culture, where people are expected to explain themselves in simple labels. But your mind is high context. You hold many meanings at once. So when you can't compress yourself into one path, you internalize shame. You start thinking, something must be wrong with me. But here's the reframe. The problem is not your sensitivity. The problem is the false assumption that a meaningful life must be linear. Instead of thinking in terms of paths, we need to think in terms of containers. Because sensitive people don't abandon dreams, they outgrow the container they were placed in. Let me explain. When you force yourself to choose one dream forever, your nervous system panics. But when you choose a container for expression, something changes. Psychologists call this temporal containment. You're not choosing who you will be, you're choosing where your energy lives for now. For example, you might choose writing as your current container, not because it invalidates your other dreams, but because it can hold them. Your psychology interest becomes content. Your emotional depth becomes insight. Your creativity becomes structure. Suddenly, choosing one thing doesn't erase the others. It gives them a place to breathe. This is the difference between identity foreclosure and identity sequencing. Foreclosure says, this is it, everything else dies. Sequencing says, this is first, others will follow. Your nervous system can tolerate sequencing. It cannot tolerate erasure. So, how do you actually choose without betraying yourself? You stop asking, which dream is the right one, and start asking, which dream can safely carry the others right now? That question changes everything. Next, we need to talk about emotional bandwidth. Highly sensitive people process deeply, which means choice consumes more energy. So when you try to chase multiple paths at once, you're not ambitious, you're overloaded. The solution isn't narrowing your identity, it's reducing simultaneous demand. This is where seasonal focus comes in, not as a productivity hack, but as nervous system care. You give one dream the spotlight, while the others rest backstage. Not forgotten, not rejected, just resting. And here's the most important psychological shift. Resting a dream is not abandoning it. In fact, resting is what keeps it alive. Because dreams ignored with guilt rot. Dreams rested with intention mature. Finally, you need a place to store the parts of you that aren't active yet. Sensitive minds are archival minds. You remember everything emotionally. So, instead of carrying it all internally, you externalize it. Journals, notes, voice memos, concept folders, not to act on immediately, but to honor them. This tells your nervous system, I see you, I'm not losing you. And when your body feels safe, choice becomes possible. So let's bring this together. You are not indecisive, you are emotionally loyal. You are not scattered, you are multi-attached. You are not afraid of commitment, you are afraid of self-betrayal. And once you understand that, the shame dissolves. Choosing one path doesn't have to mean killing the others. It can mean carrying them forward, one season at a time. Choose a container. Choose a season. Choose with compassion. You don't need to become less sensitive. You need a life design that respects how deeply you feel. And if this resonated, if you felt seen instead of pushed, then you're exactly who this channel is for. Subscribe to DeepMind. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.